My name's Shawn Walchef. I own Cali Barbecue in San Diego. We've been in business for 17 years. I also own Cali Barbecue Media. We started a media company back in 2017, back when no one was listening to our podcast or watching our videos. And now we have lots of shows that we produce. We produce shows for other tech companies in the restaurant space, and we believe deeply in storytelling. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, one thing I can tell you is that no one is coming. No one's coming to tell your story. It's up to you, the leader, the listener, the watcher. You have to set the tone for your entire organization. We teach smartphone storytelling, taking that phone out of your pocket and recording video. You have to be willing to be uncomfortable. Hopefully this conversation makes you a little bit uncomfortable, but hopefully it'll help you jump off the cliff and change the course of the business that you do, the relationships that you create, and your purpose. Restaurant businesses, as I know firsthand, it hasn't gotten any easier in 17 years running barbecue restaurants in San Diego. And what has helped us is learning how to tell our story. So excited for today's conversation.
Absolutely. And thank you again for hopping on. You are our third ever guest on this show. I think it was 2 years ago at this point. We were just talking before. Lots changed since then. I've had a kid. I've gotten married, all of that. Lots changed at Seven Shifts. We've grown this podcast a lot, but I thought it was a nice time to have you back on and just talk about, what you've been up to. But before I do that, I'd love to kind of get your take. You brought your media storytelling apparatus and descended upon Chicago for the NRA conference a couple weeks ago this year. And I'd love to get your take on that experience. And, maybe for the operator who wasn't able to go to that show or hasn't been before, but love to learn some of your takeaways from this particular year's show. Anything that surprised you or things you think, people should know coming out of that.
So I'll start with a quick story. Today, actually, I'm going to speak in front of 250 California Highway Patrol officers at their graduation. It's kind of a crazy thing to be asked as a restaurant owner and podcaster to go and speak to California Highway Patrol. But when you get into the storytelling business, you get all kinds of really cool opportunities. And, a lot of the California Highway Patrol protect the streets and highways around our restaurant. So for me, it's an honor to be able to go and speak there. And today, what I'm going to be talking about is a lesson that my grandfather taught me, and that's to stay curious, to get involved, and to ask for help. I think anyone that's a restaurateur that's listening to this podcast, you are a curious person. If you're watching this, you're hoping to find something that's going to move your business forward. Curiosity is one part of the equation. You actually also have to get involved. So you have to do something with that information. If you read a book and you highlight something or something stands out, you actually have to do the uncomfortable work that's in the book. If you hear a speaker, if you hear someone on a podcast, you actually have to do the thing that you are scared to do or uncomfortable to do to get the results. And then finally, asking for help, which is something that I still struggle with to this day. Asking for help is a superpower. There's never been an easier time to reach out to people you admire, people that are creating content, running restaurants, doing the thing that you want to do, and ask them for guidance, ask them for what did they fail doing, what did they succeed doing. And getting to the National Restaurant Show was one of the biggest challenges of my career, to be honest with you. 14 years running Cali Barbecue. I knew about the show in Chicago. I knew that there were educational sessions that I could attend. I knew that there were opportunities for me to get out of my restaurant, but I always made the excuse that I didn't have enough money to go. I didn't have the time to go. My team needed me too much. 4 years ago was the first time that I went and I brought, 3 of my media team, my storytelling apparatus to the show. We recorded podcasts. We told people that we believed that there were a lot of people that couldn't go to the show. So we almost thought it was our responsibility to share, through our podcast, through our Cali Barbecue Media YouTube channel, all of the things that we were learning for those that couldn't get out of their restaurant. And now, 4 years later, that team of 3 is now a team of 8. So we had a team of 8. We were recording every single day of the show. We actually did a full day of recording before the show even started. We have a show called Restaurant Influencers on Entrepreneur. We recorded some episodes there. We have a show called Restaurant Technology, which is on Substack. So we were recording in the Google offices. Google has some really cool products called What's Happening Now. If you go to your Google business profile, you can use some of the new tools to help drive new customers to your restaurant to let people know actually what's happening. It's Memorial Day. These are the hours of operation. Father's Day, this is the special that we have coming up. But you can use it to let the people know that are on Google Maps on your Google business profile what's going on. What happened at the show? So if you didn't make it to the show, we did a full write-up on our restaurant technology Substack on some of the top technologies that we were impressed with. I will share those with you, which is AI. You can't go to any tech conference. You can't open up any media without learning about artificial intelligence. I wanted some real practical applications. I didn't want just in theory, how are people, should we use AI? No, that wasn't the question. The question is like, okay, I believe that AI can help my business. How can it practically help my business? We found a company called AI. The woman that is the co-founder, Maria Zhang, she might be one of the smartest technologists that I've ever interviewed. She worked previously for Google. She helped when Instagram actually started competing with Reels. So she was part of the team she led the team that rolled out the entire Instagram experience. She also worked for Microsoft, and she was the chief technology officer for Tinder. So extremely smart woman, has an extremely smart co-founders on her team. And what they have is voice AI. So AI ordering is part of their suite. But we are right now working with them to launch Shawn AI at Cali Barbecue. So their AI is trained by my podcasts, ironically. So some of the podcasts that I've done with Shaquille O'Neal, they are training that AI. They're taking our menu, taking our recipes so that somebody can call the restaurant. So instead of being an auto attendant, someone can call the restaurant and actually have a conversation with Shawn AI, and Shawn AI will be able to sell hopefully better than anybody on our team, and hopefully better than me, because I don't know how well I would do selling with all the modifications that we now have on our menu. But yeah, we're really excited about Polona. Some of the other things that impressed us, Toast has an ad product. This is something I've been waiting for a long time for Toast to roll out, but advertising is difficult. Google ads, Meta ads, Facebook ads, hard to run. But now you can log in. It's in beta, but you can go into the Toast dashboard and log in and actually tie the ads that you're spending to your Toast sales, which is a pretty powerful thing from the show.
Very cool. So I definitely want to get into the Shawn AI, but you're saying like AI ads that kind of pull from the things that you're selling at your restaurant.
Yep.
Okay. So what was the process like for setting up Shawn AI? Did you have to do any sort of recordings, or was it all pulled from the podcast? I mean, you have a wealth of podcasts.
There is so much podcasts that I have hosted, I've guested on, content that we've created. So I think we're probably a little atypical. I think most restaurants that probably on board with Polona, and it doesn't have to be the owner's voice. That was something that we made consciously just because we thought that would be something interesting, something different. The AI can train on any voice learning language model. So it's something that's really exciting for us to see how it works. I mean, we're going to be doing videos about how it works, how we're onboarding it, the results that we're seeing from it. So we can't wait to share that with the community.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I know you had on the blog, you said if you want to test it out, I may have to get that.
Yeah, you should call it.
Yeah, that might be a fun thing for social, but we'll definitely link to that post in the bottom there, or in the show notes rather. But curious, anything else, from that list that came to mind, maybe something less kind of flashy like a Paloma, but just like something that may help the restaurateur in their day-to-day in an unexpected way?
Good question. God, there was so much to see at the show. To be honest with you, I think the biggest takeaway that I always take away from the show is that humans are at the heart of technology and hospitality. You cannot underestimate how much deep business development work you can do in person. So when you think about your profit and loss statement and your payables, all the vendors that you pay, they're all most likely at that show. Not only are they there as a logo, but they are there as a sales force. They're there as a marketing team. They're there as an executive team. And if you have things that you're trying to do, you want better pricing, you want better terms, how can you help them? Maybe telling the story of why you use them as a vendor. That stuff just, it can't be underestimated. Not only are the vendors there, but other peers and colleagues who have the same struggles that we have are right there next to you. Like, you don't know who you're going to see in the hallway. You don't know who you're going to sit next to on the bus. You don't know who you're going to be grabbing coffee with. They might have a restaurant that's, we have 3 barbecue restaurants in San Diego. It's completely possible that somebody sitting next to me has 10 restaurants, in a different part of the country. And I can ask them things that they learned going from 3 to 4 restaurants to 5 restaurants. And, what would they have done differently? And I think that is the magic of getting outside of your restaurant, having that interaction, having that ability to develop friendships that last forever.
Absolutely. And I think it's unique for our industry, especially. I mean, you can probably say this about any industry conference, right? But I think it especially rings true for restaurants. It is your best opportunity to get face-to-face with tech partners, with vendors. If you want to meet Jordan, our founder, Seven Shifts, he'll be there.
Jordan's amazing. Yeah.
You want to meet him.
He's there.
That's probably your best shot. So,
yeah.
Things like that, calling him out, he doesn't know I'm saying that. But if that's what you're looking for, right? If you want FaceTime with these people, that's your best chance. I mean, you make a compelling case to go for sure. And among all just like the learnings and the fun stuff, is there anything else that stuck out to you about that experience this time in particular? Maybe not just about the show in general, but just conversation you had or something you saw that just made you like stop in your tracks?
I mean, to be honest with you, I think understanding that we're still early with storytelling. As I said, this is the 4th year that I've gone, and we were the first. I don't want to say we were the first podcasters there, but we were definitely stuck out like a sore thumb when we went 4 years ago. And now Informa and the National Restaurant Association show, they reached out to myself and some other podcasters, and they actually created a podcast stage for us. So we were right next to Nation's Restaurant News and all the other, industry podcasts, but understanding that storytelling, new media, podcasting, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, creator economy, there's a lot of us out there that have stories to tell and do a good job with audio, video, words, and images. That's something that is extremely powerful because it allows people a seat at the table. I mean, I was able to interview John Taffer with Greg Majewski from Graveworthy Brands. They have a partnership with Taffer's Tavern. I had Greg on my show and John. I had David Meltzer, who's my media mentor. He came out to the show for the first time, and he does just incredible work, keynotes all over the world, best-selling author, incredible content creator, one of the top podcasters in the world. He was out there recording shows. Von Miller, for the football fans in the audience. Von Miller is a 2-time Super Bowl winning linebacker. He won MVP of Super Bowl 50. He has a Greener Pastures chicken brand. They were exhibiting for the first time at the show, and I was able to interview him. Bill Oakley, former Simpsons writer. This is the second time I've had Bill Oakley on the show, but we got to walk through. They have 50 states, kind of a taste of the states. So we got to go and try different products, which is going to be a really cool episode that we can't wait to share.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then, also Big Diesel Shack himself was on the show. You got to interview
Diesel.
him.
Yes. Big Diesel was on the show. That was something I still to this day. I mean, one of the most amazing experiences, and we'll be going back again this year to his Big Chicken conference, and hopefully I can do round 2 with Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah. And I'm curious, what is the guest list really has kind of expanded far and beyond the restaurant industry. And like you said, it is folks that have, maybe it's celebrities or well-known athletes who do have brands that are in the restaurant industry. So there is a tie in there. But I'm curious how you found that it's expanded outside of the restaurant world. Is that something you ever expected to be interviewing former athletes and folks like that?
I don't believe so, but if I'm completely honest, when I first started the show, it was in 2017 and we called it Behind the Smoke. And most people thought it was a barbecue podcast. And it was never really a barbecue podcast. Like, we interviewed barbecue restaurant owners, pit masters, people in catering. But as the show evolved, we started having more business conversations, more brand conversations, marketing conversations. And now when I think of, restaurant influencers, the show that we're talking about with Shaquille O'Neal, Giada De Laurentiis, who I just interviewed recently. I mean, Rob Deerdeck I've had on the show. I've had people beyond the scope of restaurants. And it's more of a show about storytelling than it is a show specifically about, how to run your restaurant. I'm always trying to find people that are thinking differently in publishing, in distribution, in storytelling. How are they creating different revenue streams as, creators? Somebody that is like Sam, the cooking guy that has 3 million YouTube followers. He's also in restaurants, but how does he think about brand deals? How does he think about storytelling? How does he think about, being on camera, podcasting, all of those things? And those are the questions. I just chase my curiosity. And I know that there's so many of our audience that also podcast, that also create business content, that also are looking at, consumer packaged goods. How do they sell more products? How do they bottle that sauce that they have in their restaurant? I want to get those people onto our show so that they can share the secrets.
Absolutely. I think my biggest takeaway these past couple years getting into this business and watching the media arm of it grow is just how applicable, I guess, the traditional media model is to businesses like the restaurant industry, and even just businesses that in the past, may have not been the most out there, right? Like I remember going on a rabbit hole on TikTok of like, I think it was like electrician company in like Carolina, right? South Carolina. And just like they were showing their onboarding process and like how they treat their employees. I'm like, I'm going down a rabbit hole. I'm like, why am I watching this content, right? But it's compelling and it's interesting. And what are the big lessons that you've learned from outside of the restaurant industry that kind of apply to, the day-to-day of owning barbecue restaurants?
I mean, we started the show talking about one of the greatest lessons that I learned, and that's, the baseball movie Field of Dreams, I think is something that I always bring up because business owners, restaurant owners, I don't know where we started believing it or how we started believing it, but there's some belief that if you build it, they will come. If you bake this restaurant, someone will come and they will tell other people about it. And in the modern media world, that is just not true. You need to be the storyteller. You need to be the one that lets people know why they should come buy barbecue from you, how you make your barbecue, why you pick, the recipe that you pick, and why you have the smokers that you use and the team behind we say be the show, not the commercial. And the problem that we see with a lot of business owners, and it's not just in the restaurant space, it's big publicly traded companies too, is that they think of social media. Well, what's the ROI of social media? Like, I'm going to make a video and I want someone to buy something. I can tell you, anyone that's listening to this, anyone that's watching this, we do not go to social media to go, I want to get sold to. I don't go to social media to go, let me see a commercial.
Right. You scroll past it.
You scroll past it.
Or you pay extra for YouTube Premium so you don't have to watch it.
It's just inherent in who we are and what we do. Humans don't want their stories interrupted. So if we don't want our stories interrupted, we should do a better job of storytelling so that people can learn to hear about our story. And I think, to be honest with you, one of the most fascinating things that we've seen, we started focusing a lot on YouTube at the end of last year. And YouTube is the OG social media platform, long form storytelling. But anybody that's a social media manager or somebody that's been, posting videos on Facebook or Instagram or now TikTok, YouTube's different. Like, YouTube is a different monster, and it's a amazing monster if you feed it, if you learn about it, if you do the work. But it takes a lot of work, and we hired people, YouTube producers, onto our team to start to do that deep work, not only for ourselves but for our clients. And what we're starting to find is it is finding the correct audience. YouTube's the number 2 search engine in the world, and a lot of the videos that we make are getting surfaced now. We have, I think last I checked last month, it was 3.6% of our videos were getting surfaced by ChatGPT. So meaning somebody was specifically searching for something in ChatGPT, and that one YouTube video that we made. So this isn't a video that has hundreds of thousands of views or even tens of thousands of views. Maybe it has 100 views. But because it answers that specific question, now it's surfacing in that person's result, and they're finding out who Shawn is, who Cali Barbecue Media is, what we do. And now we have actually deep intent. So we have somebody that actually we want to be doing business with is finding those videos.
Yeah, that's been a huge change this year as well. Even on our side of the content is seeing what's getting picked up by the AI engines and the answer engines, and videos that we made 3 years ago, blog posts that you kind of write, it's getting new life, because if it's answering these very specific questions, these long kind of query, how do I do this in my restaurant? How do I build a restaurant audience? And it's interesting to see that you're getting the same as well.
And it's just getting started, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
It's just a testament to, I think, the quality of the content and the breadth of the content that you put out. I'm curious. I want to know, what like the tangible impact is, because it's still hard to understand the digital. I think for restaurant people, especially who are just used to being in their business, what has that impact been like on the day to day, just in the restaurants? Do you get people in there that have seen the videos and interact with you in that way? And how's that changed? 17 years open is no small feat.
Yeah. So part of the irony in storytelling on the internet is that we wanted legacy media. We wanted TV, print, radio back in the day to know who we are, come down, write stories about us, have us on the local news, have us on local radio. And no one came until we started telling our story on the internet. And once we started telling our story and getting better at making videos on the internet, all of those news producers, all of those reporters, all of those anchors, they started following us on social. And when they thought about something that they wanted to feature on the local news, they would call us. So just recently, a producer on Fox 5 San Diego reached out to us because of videos that we put on social media and asked us to come in for Memorial Day. So on Memorial Day, Steven, my catering manager, Brian, who owns West Coast Barbecue Shop, we went to the back lot at San Diego Fox 5. I brought my son, I brought my daughter. We took videos of us going there, behind the scenes videos of showing up at Fox 5. That was aired on Fox 5 on Memorial Day. We had probably 20 different families that came in that day from the media appearance that had never been to our restaurant. So not only did they come because of that appearance, but one of the things that I try to teach as many restaurant owners as possible is don't just rely on that media appearance. Ask the news for the native video. So we got the video from the news appearance. We took that video, we posted it on LinkedIn, we posted it on Facebook, we posted it on Instagram, we posted it on TikTok, we posted it on X, as many platforms as possible, because people that follow you will see that you're on the news and it will remind them, hey, maybe we don't have any plans for Memorial Day. Let's go get some barbecue from Cali Barbecue.
Nice. And that media appearance was booked because of the content that you were putting
Always.
out.
It's always. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I've told people as well, I come from a journalism background, and it's like the news, the legacy media, they're looking on social media for what to report. That's just how it is now. So if you are there, they're going to find you, and you see that happen, I think, all the time. I'm curious from your perspective, obviously you guys are crushing it. You have the podcast, the influencer show, the Substack. Who do you look up to in the restaurant industry specifically, or look at, as peers who are crushing it as well? Who do you follow? Who do you subscribe to on YouTube? Or do you not follow other restaurant people?
Oh, no, I follow. So we have a Rising Tide community. We do a live show every Wednesday and every Friday called Rising Tides Live. These are all digital creators, restaurant owners, sales professionals, hospitality professionals, technology professionals that believe in smartphone storytelling. So a lot of them have shows. Troy Hooper would be the first one that comes to mind. Troy Hooper is the CEO of Hot Palate America, which is pepper lunch restaurants. They have over 500 restaurants globally, but they're expanding in the United States. Troy has a show called The Pineapple Perspective. He speaks on stages, but I've pushed him for a long time to start his podcast, to start to do a weekly show. And now he's doing a weekly show. He's doing content, B2C content. He's also doing B2B content. Him and his team. I mean, even Paul Tran. Paul Tran is a franchisee of Pepper Lunch, and he's also on the development team of Pepper Lunch. So he started a Substack called Building Pepper Lunch in Public. His is one of my favorite things that I get to read, because he shares all the secrets of running a Pepper Lunch franchise. Scott Turner, he is Auden Hospitality. He started doing YouTube content. He travels all over the world. He's a hotelier that opens up restaurants and food experiences and new hotels. But he's doing YouTube first content. And he just did a video, I believe, visiting Kenya. So seeing the food, seeing the restaurants, seeing the hotels in Kenya really, really cool stuff. And, these aren't big creators that you would expect. They're not the Mr. Beasts of the world, but they're doing the work. And I think, for anybody that's watching, listening, you have to start somewhere. And in the beginning, no one's going to watch, no one's going to listen, but that doesn't matter. It's not about making one YouTube video. It's how do you make 1,000? And when you figure out the way to make 1,000, that's where the real growth will start to happen. After 30 videos, you'll take a look and see, which ones should we be doing more of? We're learning that on our own YouTube page of, do people want more media content, storytelling content? Do they want more restaurant content? Do they want more restaurant technology content? And whatever people want, we're going to do more of.
Awesome. What have you found has been resonating with folks the most? I guess different things resonate with different groups of people, but the restaurant industry in particular, do they like the tech stuff? Do they like the day-to-day kind of operation stuff? What resonates with them?
It's interesting. I think, when you're learning how to tell stories, you've got to find out what works well. So you got to play the hits. You got to do the things that, people have nodded their head and go, yeah, please tell me more about that. But then you also have to be willing to test. So, to your question, I think a little bit of a combination of all of it. I mean, I do family content too, and the family content performs really well because, there's a lot of dads out there that have kids. There's a lot of husbands out there that run restaurants. My wife, I'm going to be going to Bulgaria next week. I just got these new Ray-Ban Meta glasses for point of view. So I'm going to be doing point of view content from the village in Bulgaria because people that follow me on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn, they want to know, like, what's it like to go to a village for 6 weeks in the summer? I mean, to a lot of people, that's crazy. To me, it's not crazy because I've been doing it, since I met my wife. But there's cool things that I can show from the village that actually perform really well. I mean, I remember one year I took a Weber grill. Weber, the grill company, they sent me a 50th anniversary, like little yellow Weber kettle grill. And I was like, this is a 56-pound Weber grill. I'm going to see if I can get it to Bulgaria, to the village. And like I did Instagram stories all the way from, my home in Chula Vista, loading it onto the truck, making sure it was packaged, getting it to LAX, checking it in, hoping that, TSA was going to let me actually get this thing to Istanbul and then to Sofia. But like I followed the journey of this barbecue grill. And to this day, people still ask me, like when I go back, people are like, are you going to be cooking on this, yellow Weber grill? And I'll be making yellow Weber grill Bulgarian barbecue content from the village. Yeah.
That's awesome approach to that. Yeah, I guess if you bring in a charcoal grill, it's probably a little easier than transporting a gas grill. I cook on a Weber kettle myself, so big fan of that. Yeah, maybe there'll be a sponsored show with Weber grills in the.
We're ready for them.
Taking Weber grills to different
Big Green Egg,
parts of the world.
It's
exciting. All right, I mean, I know you've covered this before, but just kind of bring things to a bow. Restaurateurs that want to start, obviously, think 1,000 videos seems crazy, but is it really just as simple as picking up your phone and going into the back and say, like, hey, what are you guys working on today?
Yeah, I mean, I think the easiest thing to do is right now stop listening to the podcast, put it down, put it on pause, and walk into your kitchen and take out your phone. If you're active on Facebook, go on Facebook Live and just start sharing who you are, why you built your restaurant. Talk to the people that are there, explain the recipes, give us a tour of the kitchen, give us a tour of the space. Why did you pick the location? Why is the name of the restaurant? And then just ask people to show up the next time. Ask your community. If you're on Instagram, do it on Instagram. If you're, LinkedIn doesn't allow you to do LinkedIn Live, but like the answer to the internet. So if people like equations, people want quality videos. So they see the video that they like and they go, Shawn, I see you have drone shots in your video and you've got a camera team. Like, I don't talk to people about that because that's not what I want people to take away. The takeaway is what I call smartphone storytelling. The answer is quantity plus speed plus consistency will eventually equal quality. You don't get quality first. You've got to make a lot of really bad videos, a lot of really bad internet posts. And you got to do it with speed and you got to do it consistently because you can't do one and go, oh, that was it. Like, or this video got 1,000 views. The views don't matter. What matters is the craft of storytelling, the craft of taking your phone out of your pocket, of understanding that there's always a moment. There's always a time. There's always something that you can promote. There's 365 days out of the year. Chances are most restaurants are open 365 days out of the year. You've got something to say. Talk about it. Share what's going on. The idea of an open kitchen where people would remove the wall so you could see the cook cooking. Well, now you have an open kitchen. It's an internet kitchen. But you got to give people access by taking your phone out of your pocket and letting people know what's going on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And I think you can always tell, if you're watching a video that the person bought all the gear first. They got the drone and they're doing drone stuff, and the storytelling's not there. They got the Blackmagic camera and they got a producer and they've got shotgun mics and booms and all that. And I think, what I want you to do is send me your first, like one of your first videos, because I want to show people the progression.
Absolutely.
Because it has to start somewhere, right? I mean, go listen to our first podcast. It was awful, right? So there is a natural progression there that I think maybe scares folks away. But I mean, as with anything else, it's, you didn't open your restaurant one day without that prior knowledge of cooking. Let's put it,
whatever you're cooking. If you're cooking burgers, if you're cooking pizza, if you're cooking pasta, if you're cooking barbecue, our barbecue was terrible when we first started. It was terrible. And if anyone's honest with themselves, the pizza that you made 10 years ago was nowhere near the pizza that you're making now. And you just have to be willing to focus on the craft of making the food, but also sharing the story. Go to our YouTube page, Cali BBQ Media. We're doing a lot of work there. You can go to Instagram at Shawn P. Walchef. I probably do the most storytelling there. I do stories every single day. I respond quickly to all DMs, but I'm active on all platforms. Don't ignore LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a beast. Great business development for restaurants on LinkedIn. Highly recommend that. But yeah, the most important app is the camera app. Please use it. And if you record a video and it doesn't hit the internet, it's as if you never did it.
Well, Shawn, thank you for your advice. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and just being so open and really a champion for the industry and storytelling and for restaurants everywhere and restaurants on the internet in particular.
Yeah, I appreciate you, DJ, and congratulations on the new baby boy.
Thank you.